So now we're going to look at writing equations from word phrases. So how is this going to be any different from expressions? So the difference between an expression and equation is that an equation is a statement that asserts equality between two expressions. So remember, an expression is just something that has numbers and variables. So an expression could be 2x plus 3, and I'm saying that this is showing equality, so equal to something like 4x, right? So an equation basically just has an equal sign. So what does that look like in word phrases? So the key word for equality is the word is, but there are different tenses in the English language. So has, was, were, had. All of these are different tenses of the word is. So if we see any of these, that's the same thing as is, and that means we are writing an equal sign. So for example, the sum of x and 4 is, right, that's where our equal sign is going to be, is 12. So like we did yesterday, we always write in the order that we read. So x plus 4 is 12. So then what we can do from here is solve, and we'll save that for the end. We'll do 2 more examples and then we'll solve. So next example, just writing it out, 2 times the sum. So 2 times is multiplication. We're going to have addition as well, so times the sum. This is going to be a parentheses phrase of a number and 3 is 14. So it's important we kind of evaluate everything we have going on. So is, that equal sign is going to be at the very end. So we could even write that right now, is 14 equals 14. On the left-hand side, we have 2 times the sum. So 2 times the sum, so that means it has to be in parentheses, the sum of a number and 3. And then our last one, before we solve these, 20 plus a number is, so this is our equal sign, is the product of the same number and 3. So 20 plus a number, so a variable, is the product means multiplication, of the same number. So here they're just meaning use the same variable. So the same number would be x again and 3. So 3 times x. All right, so going back and solving. So once we write these equations, we can now solve. So some of them are going to be super simple. Like here, we would just subtract 4, so x equals 8. Here we have a little bit more work to do. We have to distribute first. So we have 2x plus 6 equals 14. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. We get 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, x equals 4. And then here, we're going to get variables to one side. So I'm going to minus x. I get 20 equals 2x. Divide by 2, I get x equals 10. All right. So we're going to write our equations and solve for the next 3. I'll have you try one on your own at the end. Okay, so the sum of a number and 5 is 82. So this is our equal sign. The sum is addition. So the sum of a number and 5 is 82. From here we'll solve. So minus 5 from both sides, and we get 77 as our answer. 27 is, so our equal sign comes early, 27 is thrice the sum, so times the sum, that's a parentheses phrase. Thrice means 3, so 3 times the sum of x and 2. So to solve this one, since we have parentheses, we have to distribute first, so we get 3x plus 6 equals 27, minus 6 from both sides, 21 equals 3x. Divide by 3, we get x equals 7. All right, so the next one, the quotient of 15 and a number is 5. Quotient means division, so remember that is going to be in the order we read it. 15 divided by a number is 5. So for this one, It's a little tricky because we have a fraction, and the first thing we need to do is get rid of the fraction. So we do that by multiplying by what's in the denominator. So that seems a little weird because we're multiplying by the variable, but it just cancels out, and we get 15 equals 5x. So our x moved into something that was more linear and easier to solve. So now we need to get rid of the 5. So I'm going to divide by 5, and I get x equals 3. So from here, go ahead and pause the video and try number 4 on your own, and then we'll check it. So pause and try 4. Okay, so twice a number less than 18 is 12. So twice a number, that's 2x, but that 2x is less than, and that is a turnaround phrase. So instead of writing twice a number at the beginning, it is going to be at the end, and we're taking it away from 18. So 18 goes at the beginning is 12. So now I'm going to solve. So I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. I get negative 2x equals negative 6. Divide by negative 2, x equals positive 3. Okay, so we'll pause there and try the rest in class together, and we're going to move on to word problems. So this is actually adding context just like the other day. So first, we need to figure out what's going on, what operations, and where our equal sign will be. So 331 students went on a field trip. 6 buses were filled, and 7 students traveled in cars. How many were in each bus? So each bus is going to be our variable because we don't know that. That's our unknown, how many students were in each bus. So we had 6 buses filled. That's going to be our 6x. And 7 students were added in on that. So that's going to look like 6x plus 7. 6 buses were filled plus an additional 7 students in cars for a total of 331. So this is where it gets a little bit harder because you don't have the word is to tell you it equals, but we have to understand that this was the total amount. So total is what it's going to equal. And now we can solve. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So 6x equals 324. Divide by 6. We get x equals 54. So that's going to be our answer, 54 what? 54 students on each bus. And we're just going to keep going. Lots of different types of problems we'll see. So Aaliyah had, so this one's a little bit more obvious. Had is an equal sign. So she started off with 24. That's how we know it's an equation. She had $24 to spend on 7 pencils. After buying them, she had $10 left. How much did each pencil cost? So she had $24, right? And then she spent it on 7 pencils. So she took away, spending is minus 7 pencils. Now, we don't know how much each pencil cost. That's our variable. So 7 each. And that left us, we ended up with 10 as a result. So starting amount, take away how much we spent, leaves us with 10. So I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. I get negative 7x equals negative 14. Divide by negative 2, so x equals, divide by negative 7, and that's going to leave us with positive 2. So $2 for each pencil, because remember, that's how much it cost. All right, next example. How old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times my age is, so this one's a little bit more obvious, is 244. So in the order we read it, 400 is being reduced by 2 times our age. Well, we don't know what our age is, but that should give us 244. So to solve, subtract 400. I get negative 2x equals, 244 minus 400. That gives us negative 156. And then we're going to divide that by negative 2. And we get our age is 78 years old. Okay, last one I'll do with you before you try one on your own. Maria bought 7 boxes. A week later, half of her boxes were destroyed in a fire. There are now only 22 boxes left. How many did she start with? So that is our unknown. We don't know how much she started with, but we do know she started with some unknown amount, but she bought 7 boxes at the very beginning. So if I'm buying 7 more, that would be adding into my total. So to start the problem, I added 7 boxes in, and then half of her boxes were destroyed. So half is dividing by 2. And after all of this happened, she then had only 22 boxes left. So in order to solve this, like we said before, you first have to get rid of a fraction. So I'm going to multiply by what's in the denominator. And leaves me with x plus 7 equals 44. And then I have to subtract 7 from both sides, and that's going to give me x equals 37 boxes to start. Okay, so try number 10 on your own. Go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own, and then we'll check. Okay, so Somali won 40 bouncy balls playing in a carnival game at their school fair. Later, she gave 2 to each of her friends. She only has 8 remaining. How many friends did she give the ball to? So how many friends she had is our unknown. And then remember, we're just going to go in the order that the story is telling. So I start off with 40 bouncy balls, gave away, so giving away is subtraction, 2 each, 2 to each of her friends. So 2, each is multiplication, so 2 times x. And now the remaining she has is that equal sign, 8 remaining. So we're set up. We're going to subtract 40 from both sides. Negative 2x equals negative 32. Divide by negative 2, and we get x equals a positive 16. So gave away to 16 friends. Okay. So last that we're going to do is something called consecutive integers, and I'm just going to introduce it very briefly what consecutive means, and then I'm just going to do 2 problems, and we're going to hit the majority of this in class. So we're almost done. This is a little bit harder, so we'll save the majority for class. So consecutive means, first of all, one after another. So next in line is another way you can put consecutive. But we need to talk about what that means in regards to numbers and unknown numbers. So we'll start here with this example, and we'll fill in what this means as we go. The sum of 2 consecutive integers is 245. So we know we're adding 2 numbers together, but we don't know any of them. So I'm going to label that I have 2 numbers, 1 and 2. The first one is unknown, so I'm going to call it x. And that makes sense. Anything we don't know, we call x. But we can't call the second one y. That doesn't make sense because we can't work with 2 different variables. We have to have just the same one. So I need to write the second number based off of x. How is it compared to x? So that goes back to this phrase here, consecutive integers. So I'm going to ask myself, how far away is the next number? So for example, consecutive integers are 1, 2, 3, 4, next in line, right? So how far away is the next number? It's just 1 away. Just 1 away every time. So my second number should be whatever your starting number is plus 1. So now I know that what my numbers are labeled, and it's going to equal 245. So I'm going to add them together. X plus 1, right? The first one times the second, or plus the second, equals 245. So combining like terms, this gives me 2x plus 1 equals 245. Going to subtract 1, so 2x equals 244. Divide by 2, I get 122, and that is the first number. So x is 122. So the first number is 122, which means the next number, which is only 1 away, the next consecutive is 123. So as a note, if we're working with just consecutive numbers, the first one is x, the next one is x plus 1. But now we're going to look at something different, consecutive odd numbers. They're not just saying the next one in line, we're only talking about odd numbers. So if I look at odd numbers, that's 1, 3, 5. So if my first number is going to be x, how far away would the next number be? That's kind of the question here. So the difference between 1 and 3 is 2 units. The difference between 3 and 5 is 2 units. So for odd numbers, the next number is always going to be 2 away, so adding 2 to the original. So in this example, it's saying 3 numbers is what we're working with. So 1, 2, 3. The first one is always x, and we know that the next consecutive number is going to just be 2 away, so x plus 2. But then how far away is this next number, the third one, from x? Not from the previous, but from the very first one. So how far away is the next one? Plus 4. It's 4 away because we went 2, 4. So x plus 4. Their sum, so I'm going to add them, is 39. So x plus 2 plus x plus 4 equals 39, right? The first one, 2, and the third one. So combining like terms, this gives me 3x plus 6 equals 39. I'm going to get 3x equals 33 when I subtract 6. So dividing by 3, I get x equals 11. So this is the first number. The first one is 11. The next odd number is 2 away, so that is 13. And the next one is 4 away from the original, which is 15. Okay, and we are going to pause there. If we feel a little iffy on this, that is okay. We're going to finish this and hit most of it tomorrow. But what we want to remember from today is that consecutive means next in line. If we're just talking about the next in line in general, it's always 1 away. The next odd number in line is 2 away. And that's what we need to remember from today. All right, so you're done here. Leave everything else blank. We are going to finish tomorrow.